Hello everyone, and welcome to the final tour of Little Rock Ridge. It's been, I think this is the 13th episode, so 13 episodes in and here we are. But most exciting, you've probably seen in the title and the thumb, I'm joined by Poetry Slam 78. Say hello. There she is. And Nerd Chacho.
Oh, hi everybody.
Who I'm sure you should know, you should definitely know, from YouTube and Twitch respectively. Here we are outside the park. If you haven't watched the series and you've got no clue what this is, firstly, you're mental. But secondly...
Where have you been?
Exactly. It's a bit weird to kind of start a series at the end, but I mean, you do you. Basically, Little Rock Ridge is a community collab park built by some of the biggest and best creators in our community, and the special thing was they couldn't use any TMTK or DLC. No, Chacho was one of those builders, built us a lovely coaster. No, it did very well. I love it.
You cut our arms off. That's what you did.
Basically,
you literally came to us and said, "Hey, we've got this amazing idea for this collaboration park that we want to do." And I'm like, "Yeah, sign me up." Oh yeah, by the way, it's no TMTK, it's no DLCs, and it's a Western theme. Off you go.
Yeah, easy. Absolutely easy.
That's all you've got to do.
And the wonderful Poetry Slam you probably just saw last 2 or 2 weeks ago did the wonderful voiceover for FSF Ranger and will be featuring in the next series. So that's very exciting.
Super exciting.
Here's our sign. Beautiful. And I actually thought about afterwards that the font here was created by Zelixor, who also featured in the series. So that was like a nice, happy coincidence.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is the one that uses the box lights, right?
I don't know, actually. I should probably check. This is where we find out it's a DLC piece.
No, this is where we fall into the turtle.
Yeah. They're all hydro beams.
No, just basic shapes, thank goodness.
Oh, okay.
So here is our little maintenance area just outside the park with just basically loads and loads of clutter. Quite happy with my little cracks that I did here in the floor.
Yeah, how have you done that?
Those are panels, colorable panels.
Ah,
no way. Genius.
Yeah.
I was like, you couldn't have used the 1 meter cables from the workshop because...
No. And I love this little broken down carousel. I think it's really cute.
I love that. I'm actually going to be using that. So.
Car park.
Car park.
Oh, look at that sight line.
I love it.
That looks so good.
Oh, what's that over there?
Oh.
Oh, I'm assuming you mean the guest entrance building. It's brilliant.
Oh.
Not the beautiful coaster behind it.
No, it's rubbish.
No, I do love that thing. Like, I've got great memories of when you pull into a theme park car park and you can see certain things over the trees. And I love seeing this Combat Wombat's beautiful insanity.
So good.
Here we are at the entrance. This was episode 1. Nice and simple, really. I don't like talking about my own bits. Can we just skip to someone else's?
you know what you need on those park buildings, right?
Hmm.
you need a good interior.
Yeah. Nerd Chacho, the king of interiors.
Do you know, there was so much of this interior that inspired me to do the stuff that I was doing as well. Mm-hmm. I think half of the things that I had done wouldn't have been half as good if this interior hadn't been done. So, yeah, nice. Did you say this was Plastic Swans?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, it was so inspiring to see. I was like, yes, now I know that. And Yura's flat ride. Yeah. Put those two together, and I was like, oh yeah, now I've got some inspiration. Now I've got a direction. So yeah, she did a really good job with this.
Where do you want to go? You guide me. Resounding silence.
Yeah, well done.
I'm always a fan of roller coasters too.
Yeah.
I mean, say it.
Okay. Well,
you know what I really want to see? That dueling, the dueling one. The dueling.
SC Reconciles.
I want to say Mine Train. Yeah, Reconciles. Yes.
Yeah, that was quite the build.
Quite like the. I think I said in the episode, I was very concerned about the size of this plot, but yeah, I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah. It is. I would love to see something like this in real life. It's just so, it's compact, but it doesn't look like it would be an uncomfortable ride. You know, like some coasters that are compact, it's really jarring.
Oh, autosave.
Yeah. How long is your autosave?
We're still going, so. Okay, there we go. I think we're through.
Well, that was really quick. That was quick. What I love about this coaster is it's all on ground level, but it's not. So you approach it and you don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
And then you fall upon it, and it's just this masterpiece of a coaster that just falls to life. Yeah, it's so good.
It is.
Like,
I love this interaction with the queue line as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do too.
Really nice.
Oh, it's so good.
Another nice interior.
Oh,
Everyone
it's
seems to have
fantastic.
everyone's put loads of effort as well into their queue line interiors. There's the interior nerd coming out again. Everyone seems to have really themed their queue lines. And I think that was a bar that was probably set really high really early on.
Yeah.
In the sense that all of us were trying to do as best a job we possibly could.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
And that involved that.
When you're doing a whole park by yourself, you're like, oh, I can probably leave some things alone. But then because each person is making their own thing, they want to make it the best thing they can. Hence how you get such incredible creations.
Every single one who is featured in this series is an absolute legend. So that raises the bar that much more.
It adds pressure as well to you as a creator. You sort of sit there and think, oh, there's loads of corners that I would have cut if this was my own park, but because this is somebody else's, and you're also contributing with people that you respect in the community, you're like, oh, it's got to be the best thing I've ever created, and then it's
and then like you get this. Oh wow,
this is
so good.
Yeah.
It's just so smooth as well. It's just like it's the perfect compact layout, and it's thrilling enough for this park.
SC Reconcile was actually brought in quite late. So I think he did this in only a couple of weeks, which is very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Because most of us had noticed, didn't we? Like, we were invited well in advance, and we were able to plan what we wanted to do. That's where my whole research stage and everything started, was as soon as I was invited, I was like, right, what am I going to put in? What's it going to look like? Etc, etc.
Oh god, I'm over here
And
now.
oh no!
So, Nerd Chacho, did you know that you were going to do a coaster? Like, did Moobin ask you if did Moobin tell you, I want you to build a coaster for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was set out in the very beginning. It was here's the plot of land that I'd like you to do. Here's the idea, I want you to do a coaster, and this is where it's going to go in the park. That was all I was given. The rest was down to me. And to go, okay, what coaster needs to go there? What coaster does this park profile need? So like there was a synopsis of the actual park itself. You know, this is what the park represents. This is who owns it. This is the theme that we're going for. This is why we're doing the theme. But ultimately, everything else is up to you. And so it was just a case of researching what coasters went into the park, or would go into a park like this, and then taking it from there.
So here we've got Sublime's Zozo, which is just
so good.
I mean, just look at the detail.
Yeah, this is so. When I first saw it, I just sat there and went, "There's no way. There's no way this is base game." Yeah. Oh.
I mean, if you look closer, you can just see so many different things reused in different ways. Things flipped, and this queue line.
This is genius.
I mean, look,
it's incredible, isn't it? I still maintain it's overkill for a Zozo.
Ever so slightly.
I mean, you get this queue line, you're so hyped up, and then you get to the ride, and you're like,
oh, it's a Zozo.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
But I love it. It's just so detailed. It's down to the finest of things. This is the prime example of if you want people to see it, build it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't leave anything to the imagination. You can't say, oh, there would be this piece there, or there would be this piece there. This is the prime example of,
and
if you want them to see it,
it's just so
it needs to
well
be there.
integrated. Like that there, with the piston, isn't even part of the ride. That's all. I am right in saying that, aren't I?
Oh wow! It
Wait,
sure
that's-
is.
Shut
It
up, is that
sure
a piece?
Yeah, there,
is.
look.
That's the piston.
Like that's
Yeah.
just.
What a good idea.
Oh, well, there you go.
We might as well just end
I thought
there,
that was-
everyone. I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Like the
We're done.
ridiculously oversized piston. That wow.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the ride.
Yeah. No,
I genuinely sat there thinking, wow, I don't know how they've managed to incorporate the ride into the scenery. And
Yeah.
And even
That's
up here, like these
incredible.
little rooms, it's just everything. And it's under 4K.
Oh my, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know what? If I built something like that, it would probably be about 25,000.
yeah, Chacholandia just left the chat.
Very, very nice. And then across the way, should we change the lighting a bit? I've certain from doing the cinematics for everyone's things. I've worked out the best time of day for each ride. Really nice kit.
So clever, isn't it?
Lovely.
It's got a bit of a chainsaw effect to it as well.
It
looks
does.
like
It does.
just a massive chainsaw that's going through the building.
Yeah. Another nice interior.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
That's so good.
I didn't see that before.
What's really interesting is, even though we were told it's Western themed, we weren't constrained to Western items. So we're using quite a lot of the fairy tale stuff. So many people have used the fairy tale stuff, but so many people have used it in so many different ways. It's
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you remember back to the days of the alpha when we only had a certain number of pieces that we could use, and there were creators out there, you know who they are, that were just creating masterpieces by using the brackets that go on the wall and by using beams and stuff. And it's like this sort of brings us back to those days of going, right, we've only got a limited number of pieces, but we need to achieve 2020's equivalent or 2021's equivalent of detail using 2015, 2016's pieces. It was just so good to let your imagination flow that way. This awning that you've got here, by the way, over this picnic area, I love this.
Yeah, I do too.
I just love that shot of the coaster through the gap.
But then the awning in front completes it.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
It's like you can imagine being sat there on a warm summer's evening, or at night time if the park's open for a special event, and you've got the coaster going on in the background, and you're just underneath the lights there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect for that spot. Did you use any lighting tricks here, or is this just as it is?
So obviously the festoon or fairy lights, they're not emissive, so they just got a few area lights under the ground to give the glow that you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see. You'll see area lights everywhere.
Yeah, I think this was a technique I picked up originally from I think it was Mike Sheets.
Yeah, I remember Mike doing this. Yeah.
So clever, and that's then where I picked up the idea of glow and realizing, oh my god, yes, you need to know about refraction of colors.
Yeah.
So if
yeah.
you've got red on a sign, you're going to have a red glow somewhere.
So over here we've got Wix's coffee shop, which I mean, just look at it.
Perfect, isn't it?
I just love it.
Perfect for that spot, and it's
It
perfect
is.
colors, perfect woodwork.
And it's not the stereotypical Western that you think of, but it just fits in so
No.
perfectly.
I was just getting ready to say it's kind of very like gateway to the West Americana.
Yeah.
Like St. Louis or somewhere like that. It's not like your desert West, like New Mexico or something. It's yeah. I like it a lot.
The beam work is perfect as well. So the interaction of different colors of beams, and I see windows as walls.
Yep.
And it's just
Oh yeah. Windows as walls.
The famous saying.
I recently used Windows as a floor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Windows
I
can be
still
used
do
for
it.
anything.
Well,
Windows
yeah.
as ceilings, Windows as floors,
If we
walls.
pop over here to this little water feature, I wanted to obviously use plaster for the base of this, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
So those are, what are they? Castle windows.
Windows as retaining walls.
Yeah.
I used to be really dismissive of windows of walls, by the way. I'll put my hands up. Like, I used to really frown upon it, going, why would you want to do that? You've got pieces that are on a grid that do everything for you. Like, it is what it is. It wasn't until I started to build Waygate Lake that I really started to appreciate windows as walls and just the freedom and flexibility you get. And the fact that the wall isn't as thick. So you can do windows properly.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
you can
Exactly.
ironically do windows by using windows as walls.
Now I mostly use plaster, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I got that TMTK plaster, and it's pretty much my entire park.
Yeah. No, they're
Yeah,
great
and the
pieces.
concrete as well. The TMTK concrete.
Yes. And the hydro beams.
Just
Everything.
anything by
How much
hydro.
of your stuff is hydro stuff?
In my Capital 43 park, the park that you saw me working in Muchacho, it's nearly all, yeah.
Like Hydro Park, right?
It's hydro park.
So you can say that there are a few creators that have truly shaped Planet Coaster to be what it is today, right? So you've got the early pioneers of building silly buildings with silly pieces, and then
Yep.
you've got the likes of Hydro that have taken on Theme Maker's Toolkit and really filled the gap of the stuff that we needed in Planet Coaster. So a lot of the backstage stuff, a lot of the office stuff, a lot of the
Yes.
functional park stuff has all been created by Hydro. And it's like,
Yeah.
where do you get the inspiration? Secondly, where do you get the time? And thirdly, where do you get your talent?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely
Exactly.
agree.
And it helps so much too, because you can build on a much more appropriate scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's too big in Blanco.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like 90% of my streams are just me screaming, "Why is it so big?"
Absolutely.
Did you ever play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 though?
I played that game for 12 years. Yes.
Yeah, likewise. Like
I love
far
that
too long.
game. Yes.
I lost so much of my life to that game and then just put it
Yes.
down as soon as Planet Coaster came along.
Yeah.
Haven't loaded it since.
The second that I got Planet Coaster, I don't even think it's installed on my computer anymore. I don't think it has been in years.
It became
Well-
free on Epic, I think, at one point. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool
Yeah.
to go back to that. About 30 seconds later, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
As soon as you realise how restrictive it is.
Yeah.
What are they? Shotgun shells or bullets or ammo or whatever they're called? I don't know.
Yes.
These are basic shapes, aren't they?
Yeah. Let's have
Look
a
at them.
It's just so cool, aren't they?
It's just
A half prolate spheroid, if you like.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, amazing stuff. This is Paulsley. Yeah, I mean, this, like, I know he used the stenciling technique to create this font himself, using the video screens and then
Yeah.
tracing over it. This target man up here is all basic shapes. Yeah. It's
Oh,
easy.
I've done the Mandalorian symbol with basic shapes. It is not easy to get
Nope.
any like good shape out of basic shapes.
No, it's not.
How's he done the serif on that capital R using basic shapes? What basic shape did he use for that?
Oh, is that the small
Yeah,
ellipse?
oval one,
Oh,
extra
it's the
small.
oval.
But yeah, very impressive. And I love this
That's really good.
little water shooting thing. Really nice.
Oh, that's a perfect use for those overly large guns.
No, otherwise useless.
They are.
So now we've got Fua's wonderful duo of shops. I felt so bad. I gave Fua such a massive plot to do a building on, and she was like, "Can I please at least make it into 2 buildings?" I was like, "Yeah, that makes most sense." Because yeah, I mean, this is enormous.
I love those colours.
Yeah.
The colours are perfect.
Oh yeah.
And that overhang.
Hmm.
It's so hard to master an overhang like that
Yeah.
in Planet Coaster without it looking awful. And this is perfect. This is the perfect overhang.
I just love when you can look at, see, like, that's a custom roof. All these, like, individual details, because so much of the Planko pieces are just the same texture repeated. So it stands out when
Yeah.
people do custom stuff. And there we go. On to the first ever addition to the park. Yura's sundial. Which, I mean, when it was at this point that I got his ride, and I was like, okay, this series is going to be good.
Just set the bar so high, didn't it?
Well, I mean,
it really did.
It's Yoda, so yeah.
Just like, and because I was concerned, obviously, like no DLC, no TMTK, how much can you do? And I know that Yoda uses a heck ton of TMTK in his builds, sometimes all TMTK.
A little bit,
But,
just a little.
But yeah, I mean, look at this. I looked at it, I was like, well, this is a perfect example of how you don't need it. And with the initial purpose of this series to be, because Xbox players at the time didn't have any DLCs, and they still obviously don't have TMTK, so it was showing them that stuff can be built to look really nice, and he certainly did portray that.
And I totally stole the idea as well of using the planks on as the floor in the queue line. I used that in Fundy Fun Spot in the end, using the driftwood. Because I was like, that is genius. That's something that is so smackingly obvious to do that you don't think of doing. And I think that's the beauty of the stuff that you've seen and hear as well in this park. Is like there's so much that's going on that you wouldn't think of because it's too obvious to think of. You think, oh, why have I never thought of doing that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. We're on the roof. Oh.
Oh no.
Oh god.
No, or I haven't thought of doing that in years. That's kind of some of my takeaway from it too. Was like, I haven't done that in years. Now I've only been using TMTK for about 5 months. I was one of those people before. It's like, oh, TMTK, use your imagination or whatever. And then I used it once, and I was like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. This is so much easier.
But
why were we not doing this before?
I feel like I'm less limited, but I also was watching this and I was like, I haven't used that technique in a long time, and why did I stop using it? It was a really good technique, and it definitely had nothing to do with TMTK. It's just, I don't know, sometimes as you progress into a game, you kind of lose the basics a little bit.
Yeah.
It's nice to go back to that.
It is, because there are some really nice
Kind of
techniques that people just don't use anymore.
Well, we all, we make everything so complex. And it's nice to kind of go back and simplify things a little bit and remember that simple can look really, really good.
Really good, yeah. And can you imagine what absolute masterpieces you're going to be able to create if you can master the technique of the old stuff and Theme Maker's Toolkit?
That's what I've been working on.
Imagine.
Yeah. There was something I really loved about this, actually, that I didn't... it wasn't until I watched Yura's video explaining his build that this is actually the control booth for the ride. He covered up the original.
That's such a good idea. That's super genius.
So good.
And which also has, round the back, he actually created access up to the booth as well.
Oh, nice.
Which is really nice.
Thought of everything.
Yeah.
And it's so plain on the back as well. It's exactly as it should
Yes.
be. It's the idea of only build what your guests can see.
Yeah.
The rest can just go away. Like, it's the fact that it's the concrete and there's all of the stuff that makes the ride work and the pumping for the water and whatever. Oh, it's just perfect, isn't it?
It is.
Just
It really is.
Very nice.
It really is.
And I mean, same here. So this is the back of the Mine Train coaster, and SE Reconciled did the same. This is very much concrete walls, and then you got your access into the maintenance area.
oh, he did a maintenance area.
Yeah. I love the switch tracks for this as well. They just look so.
Oh, the switch tracks are so
they
good.
look so natural.
Oh, yeah, it does.
I'm so bad at switch tracks. I mean, I try, but oh my goodness, I'm not good at them.
Yeah.
And there's even space for that switch track to work as well. A lot of the times that you forget that on the right hand side, as we're looking at it now, you need the space for the track that you're replacing to go to.
Yes, true.
So everything's been thought of here. It's just, it would work.
Yeah.
It's exactly as you'd. Yeah.
From some of
It's exactly as it should
the
be.
terms that SC Reconcile was using during his spiel, I get the impression that he maybe has some sort of engineering background of some kind.
Knows what he's talking about.
Definitely. So this is our backstage area, which links round to a certain somebody's coaster. And his
Delete it.
maintenance
It's
area.
rubbish.
Terrible.
It's so bad that I think I need to see it twice.
Flattery gets you everywhere.
Yeah, really nice raised maintenance area. I know you're going to be very...
Yeah, and this... I'm going to be very critical because I can see all of the stuff, and especially when you look at other people's, and you're like, actually, they did it way better than I did. And it's just silly little things I noticed, like B&Ms don't always use track in their maintenance sheds. They'll actually use I-beams that replace the track. So like the wing coasters, for example, do that, and I think the flying coasters do. So had I have thought of this differently, I probably would have employed that technique as well, where the track would stop after the transfer track, and then it goes in and goes to a non-tracked based. Because at the moment, right, the idea is that you need to be able to collapse the train, take it off into its individual parts, and then load it onto the back of a lorry, right? I'm a massive I toot that drum. No, you don't toot drums, do you? You toot the horns and bang drums.
You're getting there.
Words are failing me. So the idea is you're supposed to be able to collapse the train and then put it onto the back of a lorry, and you can't do that when you've got track in the way.
Yeah.
So that's why they use a deconstructed maintenance area. So yeah, had I have done it differently. But remembering as well though that I was doing this blind, so none of the stuff in the park was here. I only had Yoda's stuff and a couple of the shops that were at the front. Yeah. And so I was going into the area blind. I didn't have a feel for how the park was going to be. I didn't have a feel for the guest flow or anything. So I was like, okay, what's the least intrusive version of this coaster that I can make? My favourite bit, by the way, you're sort of seeing it now, and I stumbled across it absolutely accidentally, are the keep out signs on the fence. They are just the sci-fi signs that are turned the other way around, and I just completely stumbled across that accidentally.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, really nice.
And I was like, how am I going to represent the
those
keep
were.
out signs? That was my biggest worry, and I was like, I use the My Curious Mind one everywhere.
Yeah.
How am I going to do that?
No, really nice.
So yeah, stumbled across that.
I just love this shot here.
Oh, this
Just
is
look at-
yeah. I was watching this. I was watching this episode again last night. This coaster just sends me okay.
And I'm so glad I replaced the turnaround with that Immelman after the loop, because originally in the original version it was a turnaround and you had two turnarounds, and then they sort of interacted with the 0G roll that you've got there.
Yeah.
And when I was getting a feel for it sitting in the park, so I was doing it blind, as I said. I literally had the square, and I designed the roller coaster to go into the square, and then the idea was I was just going to plop it into the park and it was going to be done. And it wasn't until I actually put it into the park and I realised that double turnaround just didn't feel right. So I reprofiled it to have the Immelman, this second airtime hill, and then into the 0G. That was all reprofiled, and it then just came to life, and I was like, yes, that's it. That's the design. Oh, autosave, just at my point.
That's beautiful. That is perfect. That's a feature that I really like in coasters anyway, just like in real life coasters. Oh, just
Yes.
Oh, it's just perfect.
And getting an Immelman to be the right shape is a challenge in itself as well. And because B&Ms have a certain grace to them, so it's not like an Arrow or a Vekoma where you can just throw a train through what they call a sidewinder and hope for the best.
Right.
There is a grace and a technique that you need for an Immelman. And you see it most on coasters like Oblivion Black Hole at Gardaland, where you can actually look at the Immelman from the sky, from the drop almost, and you can go, that's got a really weird shape to it. Like from some angles it just looks like it's not supposed to be a track element.
Yeah.
We tend to build them where they're constantly in a parallel line until it's supposed to roll and then it comes down, but they don't. They start twisting from about the 90-degree angle, and then when you use the smooth on the actual track itself, it just ends up with this really awkward weird shape.
Look at these bins.
But it just looks perfect. Yeah, sorry, I'm just like banging on about Immelman if we're looking at everything else.
No, I'm 100% absorbed in this conversation though. Like, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, those bins.
Like nerding out.
I think I used the box light. So I actually used the font technique that had inspired me to create those bins, because I was like, well, we can't put bins in the queue line, so what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Are you not the Maker's Toolkit again?
Oh, it's perfect.
Then the idea of using the screens in here was that we could have some kind of multimedia, until you said, oh no, we can't, because he's doing it for console.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they're there anyway.
We can just
do what
imagine.
You want with them. Can I swap my queue with a Zozo's queue? But this was a challenge in itself as well, because this would have needed a longer queue. So it was like, how am I going to fit as much queue into this space, as well as the track and everything else that needs to go in it? And it seemed like it was the obvious thing to do was to put it into underneath the station, because that's what parks do as a space saver thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how busy this park would be, and there is an entire science, by the way, of queue length. I've touched on it a little bit before, but like there is an entire science and an algorithm that you use to determine how long your queue should be, because you don't want people to join a queue because they think it's short. So if you've got like a pirate ship, for example, that can do, I don't know what, 600 people an hour, if that, on a good day, you don't want people to join a short queue, and a short queue would still be half hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes or whatever. You don't want people to think that it's a short queue, so you don't want to have too much space in that queue, so you make your queue line shorter. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Like in my head, I'm making perfect sense, but I don't know if I have it on my mouth.
It's working for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like an algorithm you use to work out how much space your queue takes up in park, and it's
Smart.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I also really, really love the colors that you chose for the track here.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice of colours actually. I cycled through many different colours. It was at one point red, and it was at one point yellow, and I was like, it just didn't feel right. It just sort of sat as an eyesore, and I wanted it to blend into everything else, because I wanted the ride to do the talking for itself rather than the colour doing the talking. And so that's where I chose the blue and the brown, because they're very subtle. And brown's actually quite easy to work with. You can put quite a few colours with brown, as it turns out.
Yeah. Well, plus it works very well with the Western theme.
Exactly, yeah. And I was like, oh, let's just go cliche. Something's got to be cliche in this.
No, it's so nice. Really nice.
And then the custom supporting as well.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the custom supporting in this, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's that makes the difference.
See your lovely
stunning.
water triggers as well.
Which I've now overused.
I had a little bit of help with some custom supporting on a coaster a couple of weeks ago.
Here we go.
Oh, did you?
Well, when you dropped into my stream, of course. Like, oh, this looks so much better. Yeah.
This, by the way, black gold, is so good.
Yeah.
I love this. I love the oil pump in the front.
Yes. Is that all scaffolding? The scaffolding bars?
This thing up here.
Which I use a ton. I use the scaffolding, the short sections of it.
Well,
For so many things.
Because, hang on. Bear with. So this is all wooden pillars.
Oh, it's all pillars.
Yeah, because I think the
My
facade scaffolding is
It's a little thin.
DLC.
Huh? Oh, it is, isn't
I
it?
think
It's studio.
Or Ghostbusters, actually.
I use that a ton too.
Yeah, it's a really good pack.
Oh, DLC! I can't stand when companies DLC, and then I'm like, yes, DLC.
Yeah.
They announce it, you're like, I don't even know what's in it. Just take my money.
Just give me more pieces. Give me more pieces.
and then you end up with World's Fair.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I love this one so much.
Oh yes.
I mean, just look at that.
That is that.
Just that.
Is it made up of the? I'm like in awe. Is it made up of the curtains?
I think so, yeah.
The drapes.
Drapes long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just beautiful. It's just perfect, isn't it?
Really nice.
What a beautiful imagination.
Yeah. And tying in the drapes here as well.
It's just perfect.
And I think this is Christine, and she came up with a little story behind this. Is the old ticket box where you would get your tickets to go on the airship and all that kind of stuff. Really nice.
Love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, the detail.
The actual, just the art piece itself is just beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And you can see it's all custom
Yeah.
as well, so it's like beams and planks and everything that have been placed down
Every piece.
piece by piece. I'd love to know how this was pulled together.
Yeah.
Like you know when people keep asking us for time lapse builds and stuff. This is one that I would absolutely love a time lapse
Yeah.
of.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see the process. I love to see like how it started out, how many times it changed before it arrived to that. That's why I love, I love time lapse builds, and I love streams for the same reason, because a stream you get to see that whole entire process.
Yeah.
Which as a streamer though, it gets me really nervous though, because then everybody sees every single mistake or bad version you make along the way, whereas when you're a YouTuber, you've just got those gorgeous time-lapse edits, and it looks like you know what you're doing.
So that's it. It looks like we know what we're doing. What we cut out is all of the bit in the middle where we sat there at a blank screen looking through reference images for inspiration.
Yeah. I rarely use reference images. I every once in a while I use one, but most of the time it's just my brain.
Which brings us to our last attraction. And
Definitely saved the best for last, haven't you?
You can't even like. And the funny thing is, so I look back and I asked all the main people back in May to do this park, and FSF Ranger built this in a week. He was the first one to submit, and he did it in a week. And I was of all the people to finish first, I'm obviously going to keep this one till the end.
I'm kind of glad you didn't show me as well, because I think it would have just put me off. No, I'm sorry, I can't do anything to this level.
Yeah,
it's quite daunting, isn't it?
It's like just shut down the game and
Rage quit.
Yeah.
I mean, Yoda's was a bar enough for me. I think if I'd have seen this before, panic mode would have set in.
Yeah.
Oh, every time.
So
yeah.
I think that's why I saved just
every
doing.
Every time I see you guys, I'm like.
I did bins, benches, and lighting after doing this. It's like, I'm not even going to try and build something impressive. I mean, look at this.
There's the sunset.
The sunset. Just. What the heck?
And using the panels for their intended purposes.
Who does that? Everything but.
And it's just so impressive because it's clearly a building as well. That's the thing. Like, you get some beautiful dark rides that are built, and there's no thought process put into it as to how it would function as an actual building.
Right.
But then you get ones like this that you're like, yeah, okay, this is both beautiful and functional as a building.
Yeah.
And now I want to cry.
Form follows the function, right?
You can just imagine how it's all connected, and there's probably little access tunnels and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very well put together.
So well put together.
And the triggers, I mean, I love how every scene comes to life as you come in.
It's just insane, isn't it? It's one of those ones where you just have to sit in awe and watch. You can't even. There's just too much to talk about to even try and start.
Oh, yeah. There's
And it's not very long either. That's what I like about it. It's so impactful in such a short space of time. And then that's it. We're back outside.
But there's just so much in there in that short space of time.
Yeah.
But there we go. There is Little Rock Ridge.
This
so
is
good.
It's a little bittersweet moment. It's always like saying goodbye to a friend, you know?
When I was doing in episode 12 with everyone saying goodbye, I was like, this is actually quite sad. But it's good. It's part of history. It's on the workshop. People can download it. They can do what they want with it. They can clutter it with TMTK if they want.
They can tear it apart and do their own version.
It's done, and it was a beautiful project to work on.
It's done. It's been an absolute joy for me to watch.
Oh, well, thank you.
Completely agree.
To Fridays every week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. But on to the next series, which is a super fun build challenge series that, as I said before, Poet is a part of, as well as, who else have we got? Undead Clockworks, Blubber, Spagbold Chomper, Mini Heather, Cockwaddle. How many was that?
I feel like.
Can you imagine if I missed someone? Oh god.
Hold on. Me and Dead, Cockwaddle, Spag, Mini Heather. There's.
And Blubber.
Me and Dead.
I did say Blubber.
Yeah.
Blubberhoofed.
Yeah.
Really good series. I've pretty much done all the recording for that, so I've seen them, and they're all fantastic builds. So really good, including yours. Really good challenge. So stay tuned for that, which will be starting next week. Massive thank you to both of you for coming along for this tour. I hope it's been slightly enjoyable.
This has been so much fun. Thank you for inviting us as well, and thanks for inviting me to do something for the park as well.
Yeah,
it's been awesome. So thank you.
I'm among giants right now. I don't know what to do with myself.
Shush your face. Right, Poet, tell everyone where they can find you.
Twitch.tv/PoetrySlam78.
And Chacho.
I'm on YouTube. Search for me on Chacho, or you can come find me on Twitter and Facebook.
He's like, do the work yourself. I'm not giving you anything.
Well, I should be. I say that I should be on youtube.com/nerdchacho, but apparently it doesn't always work. So.
Oh, and you're on Twitter? Okay, I'm going to Twitter right now.
I am on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter.
Oh, it's off. Okay, well, there we go.
New follower.
Thank you all so much for watching. But thank you, and I will see you next week.